Do you remember the one where Mrs. Puff went to jail?
No.
So Mrs. Puff went to jail because SpongeBob's a horrible driver, and
Mm.
they're trying to break her out of jail, but she's really happy in jail because she doesn't have to put up with SpongeBob. And there's a scene that just it hurts how accurate it is. There's a scene where SpongeBob and Patrick are trying to break her out, and Mrs. Puff is like, "I don't want to leave this," and SpongeBob whispers to Patrick's ear. He's like, "She's completely institutionalized. She's forgotten what it's like to live on the outside world, to not be in prison." And then it cuts, and then it cuts to a guy living like quote unquote outside of prison, living like unreal life. So what is real life in SpongeBob? Being stuck in traffic, working in a cubicle, and like going home to your wife who's like coming to bed. It's like, yes, dear. And
Wow.
it's just like, as a kid, you wouldn't know why that's funny. But as an adult, I'm just like, dang it, how did he know?
Who created SpongeBob? The guy actually died a
He
few
passed
years ago,
away. He
right?
passed away. God rest his soul.
Yeah. Wow, that's hilarious. I saw something interesting the other day. Actually, one of my Ron he posted this on social media, and it makes sense. But it goes to the tune of what you just said, that we've been in quarantine or we were isolated in our homes for a very long time, and then people will see people that go to prison. Right now, some people that go to prison, they deserve to go to prison because they've done bad things. But you're there for 15 years, 20 years, 25, whatever,
You don't know what it's like to live normally
right?
anymore.
You've been isolated for 15 years. How can you expect them to diffuse into society easily? Like, what? And a lot of people are having trouble doing that after 1 year only.
I feel
It's an
like
interesting argument.
yeah, no, it's 100% true. Cause like it just makes sense if you live in jail, starting from like let's say you got arrested in at the age of 20. Some people get arrested even earlier than that. But let's say
Yeah.
20. Let's say you're 20 years old and now you're in jail for 20 years. You're literally a free man at the age of 40. You didn't live a life for 20 years and now you're still an adult. You don't get those 20 years back to like try again. Now you're 40. You probably forgot any of like the education you learned, whatever that was worth to begin with. So you don't have that. You don't have any work experience because you were stuck in a cell. You haven't traveled the world, so you don't know people apart from other criminals. You like what can you like any friends you probably had have moved on from you because it only makes sense. They're not going to wait for you for 20 years. So now what?
It's sad.
It's sad. I don't know how the prison system works in America or other countries. I feel like there should be like a program such that for people who are likely to survive their sentence, like so like if you're 60 and you get 100 years, okay, yeah, you're a dead man. But like if you're 20 and you get like 10 years or 20 years, they should be allowed some sort of one, a psychological test to see if they're like fit for society, like if they're even worth coming back or not, and two, to like teach them something, like give them a skill set to use when they're out of there, because if they don't have that, most of the time they're just going to commit a crime again, because what else do they know? You've just deprived them of 20 years. Granted, some of them probably deserve it.
No, that all that stuff actually exists. I just think that
They're not
they
incentivized to do it, you think?
prisoners,
Yeah.
they are incentivized. You can shorten your sentence if you're compliant with stuff like that. But the problem is that after they're done,
No one wants to hire them.
there's no rehabilitation afterwards, because most people when they're in prison, they're kind of doing it just so they could get out, and then afterwards they either,
Do the same thing they were doing before.
yeah, partially, or they just forget all the stuff that they quote unquote rehabilitated them, and then they're unable to actually be contributing members to society, and then possibly relapse into what got them into prison in the first place. I feel like there needs to be, I don't know. I don't know enough about the quote unquote prison complex, industrial complex, is that what it is? The
Yeah.
prison complex in America to make an accurate statement on this, but I feel as though there are so many people that go to jail or go to prison second times because they are not properly rehabilitated. And of course, some people are incapable of being rehabilitated, but some people actually want to make a change because, I'm an optimist and I feel like a lot of people, if they mess up early in their life, they have to accept that there will be consequences. But if they're a good person and they don't have any underlying issues that are
They're a
hindering
lost
them,
cause.
no. If they don't have any underlying issues hindering them from developing into a different and better person,
Oh,
then I feel like they should get the benefit of the doubt. The only problem is also that's extremely hard to prove, right? Because you already screwed up once. Why should I believe you again?
it
Because
depends on
most
the
people are
mistake.
pessimists, right? It's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
it depends on the mistake. Like,
No, of course, if you murder someone, that's extremely that shouldn't be forgiven. Of course, I mean most people will go to jail for life or something like that.
I hope so. But like
I don't think so though. That's the
that,
worst
yeah,
part.
that's the part that makes me think. Oh yeah, yeah.
You see, there are some crazy.
I think
There are some crazy sentences that are thrown around. Like, for instance, I feel like if you're a business magnate, or if you're someone that runs a huge, I don't know, factory, or
business owner.
if if you let's say you have a piece of land and you have a factory or a power plant or something, and waste
Yeah,
developed by said building or infrastructure escapes that said building or infrastructure, and then it causes damage to people's lives, homes, livelihoods in general, kills people even. I feel like if you lawyer up and you're in that type of position, you're not going to get life in prison, which is messed up to me.
I mean the question is, did they know? Because if they didn't, it's horrible. But punishing someone for not knowing what they were doing is in a constantly evolving world, both technologically and in honestly every part of our lives is changing. It's hard to say, yeah, you were killing people deliberately. That obviously wasn't the that wasn't the goal of what they were doing. They were doing whatever they were to make money, not to kill people.
Yes, but there are two ways to look at murder in the eyes of the law. There is premeditated
Manslaughter.
murder and manslaughter. Manslaughter is the one where you don't know that you're doing it, or you did it
No,
by accident.
yeah, it
You
means
didn't intend
accident.
to,
So,
right?
like, if you're drunk driving and you kill someone, that's also considered manslaughter.
Yes. So, in the eyes of the law, that would be considered manslaughter.
Yeah.
If you're this guy that runs a power plant and there's radioactive waste coming out of it and destroying people's lives.
Yes.
So how is that different from a drunk driver? Because if anything, you were negligent enough that you're damaging people's lives like this.
Yeah, but are people sent to jail for life for drunk driving?
I think there have been cases like that.
But like first time offenders, or because if you do it like multiple times, it's like, okay, yeah, you're a menace to society. Honestly, but the point is, accidents happen. We talked about it with Grace. Life sucks sometimes,
Yeah.
and good people suffer for no reason at all. You can only do the best that you can with what you got, and just try to move on and be aware of whatever happened the next time. However, in this instance, in your hypothetical, where the factory owner is leaking waste and not getting punished at all, if they're not getting punished, that's messed up because that's wrong. But if they are getting punished, they should be persecuted, like, to the fullest extent of the law.